Hello, this is our third video in our KOBO tutorial. In this video, you will learn how to add skip select, how to limit responses with the validation criteria, how to add cascading select questions, and how to group questions and repeating groups, and all those skills learning using the Excel form. Adding skip select. Adding skip select or adding skip logic, it's like you have so many questions, but some of the questions will not show. All right. Usually by default, all questions are always visible. But what if you want to include some questions, but you want them like if the answer for question 1 is a yes, go to question 35. Or if the answer of question number 1 is no, you can go directly to question number 2. So how do you put those skip logic? I want to show you this very tiny survey I've created to explain exactly what we mean by skip select. Question number 1, are you an adult? If you answer a yes, question number 2 is going to show. If you answer with a no, you will not be able to see question number 2 and the survey will be over. All right? I'm going to answer with a yes. Do you smoke? If you answer with a no, the survey is going to end. However, if you answer with a yes, question number 3 is going to show. Do you have diabetes? You can answer with a yes or you can answer with a no, and it doesn't matter. It's like the survey, it's going to end. So how do we create questions like that where question number 2 would be hidden unless you answer question number 1 with a yes? All right. So how do we do this on an Excel form? So I wrote this Excel form. As you can see, you have survey, you have, let me change the pen, you have choices, and you have version. Okay. So in the first sheet, survey, what I did, I wrote the type, the name, the label, required, and eventually, this is new for you, this is called relevant. Okay. This is the starting of the survey, and this is the ending of the survey. I'm going to put it under type and under name. I'm going to start by writing my questions exactly how I like them to show on the survey. 1 dash, are you an adult? 2 dash, do you smoke? And I can use capital letter, I can use spaces, I can use question mark. So these are the 3 questions that you will see in the survey. What is the type of this question? These questions, all these questions are select one. So you will have answers, but any person who is filling in the survey is allowed to select only one answer. So it's a type called select one. I'm gonna label this question 1, and this is question 2, Q2, Q1, Q2, Q3, because in the choices, I'm gonna give the different choices for Q1, for Q2, and for Q3. What did I write in B? By the way, you can write anything you want, or else you can write whatever you have under label. However, you are not allowed to use spaces, neither question marks. Now for the required, I don't want any of those questions to be required. So I'm gonna put false, meaning whoever is filling the survey can skip any question they want. Now, which question is relevant? Question number 1 is gonna show it's always relevant. However, question number 2 is only relevant if question number 1 is a yes. How do I write it down? So what I'm writing in here is the answer for question number 1 is a yes. So you use the $sign to specify the answer. You put the name of the question inside a curly bracket. You use the equal, and you use the apostrophe to specify the answer for the value of the answer for the actual question. Okay. Question number 3 is only relevant when question number 1 is a yes and question number 2 is a yes. And this is how you write it down. Now, if I go to choices, yes. So let me clear the drawings. And now if I go to choices, I simply need to, as you can see, question number 1 has 2 answers, either a yes or a no. Question number 2, yes or no. Question number three, yes or no. The label is exactly like the name, but I wanted it to, this is exactly what I want to show in my survey. And I want whatever is shown on the survey to start with an uppercase, and this is the only difference. So yes, for version, probably I left it empty, did I? Because I don't care for the moment. I just want to make sure if it's working or not, you know. But you can add the version of your code. Okay. Limiting responses with validation criteria. What if you have some of the questions that are numerical questions, the answer of which would be integer or decimal? What if you want to limit the responses? For example, you want the responses for a question about age to be limited between 0 and 130. And you would want to do that to avoid accidental or invalid answers. What if by mistake somebody would write 555 instead of 55, and you don't want this is somehow to be able to clean some of your answers. So how can we do that? Writing the code on an Excel form. This is a very simple survey number 2 for us, where you would be asked very simple questions, the answer of which would be integer. All right. As you can see, there's a star in front of each question, meaning that all these questions are required. So we'd rather write true on the required and not false. For example, if you want to fill in how old are you, you cannot start from 1. I allowed only answers between 5 and, if I'm not mistaken, probably 90. Let me try 91. 91 is allowed. Let me try 99. It is allowed. Let me try 100. It's not allowed. So in my code, I wrote that any answer between 5 and 99 is allowed. So let me go back to 50, for example, for instance. How many students are there in your class? So I remember writing the condition to be between 3 and 30. So if I pick 2, it's not going to be allowed. And if I pick 31, it's not going to be allowed. However, 30 would be allowed. So how can I write this in a code? How many girls? If I pick 30, the number of girls should be less than 30. So if I pick 31, it's not going to be allowed. If this is equal to 5, the number of girls can be 5, but cannot be 6, because there is no way the answer for how many girls to be greater than the answer for question number 2. You see, so question number 3 is somehow related to the answer of question number 2, and I find this very interesting. How many boys? The answer should be very similar to the how many girls. It has to be limited, uh, and it has to be less than the answer for for question number 2. So, and that's it for the survey. So how do you write this in an Excel form? Let's see. So again, I'm on in my Excel form. I'm gonna create 3 sheets. The first one is called survey, the second one is called choices, and the third one is called version. On the survey sheet, I'm gonna write type and name and label, required or not. And now I'm gonna add a new column that I'm gonna call constraint. So every time you have something, if you want to do the validation criteria, you need something called the constraint. Now I have 4 questions and I decided to name them under Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. I don't want to write something very similar to the label anymore. The label is what you want to be seen exactly on your survey. So you write it exactly like you want it to show. And the type of the question, in my case, all of them are basically integer and all the questions are required. So I'm going to type true. Now for the constraint, I'm gonna say I want the answer to be greater or equal to 5 and less than equal to 99. However, if you want to specify the answer, you create a dot. So dot is greater or equal to 5 and dot is less or equal to 99. So dot means the answer. This is very similar for question number 2. However, question number 3 is a bit different because you want your answer or the dot to be less or equal to dollar sign, curly bracket, Q2 curly brackets. So you want your dot or the answer to be less or equal to the answer of question number 2. And again, remember, wherever you put between the curly brackets, it has to be the name of the question and not the label. All right. Same thing for question number 4. The answer, the dot should be less or equal to the answer of question number 2. Again, this is question number 2. So question 3 and question 4 should not exceed the answer to question number 2. All right. So the dollar sign represents answer. Curly bracket is the answer of. Q2 using the name of the question to specify eventually that the answer to question 3 should be less or equal to the answer to question 2. All right. As you can see, I will not be using choices because for integer, we don't have choices. Select one, however, you need choices to select from. But for integer, you don't need for choice. You don't need to fill in the choices sheet. All right. So I'm gonna keep it empty. This is only, let's say, a habit to get ready with 3 sheets. Adding cascading select questions. So in which case you would need to use cascading select questions. This is usually used when you ask the person filling in the survey to pick a region where they live, for example. And after picking that region, you will have a question that lists certain towns or villages inside this region. So it depends on the choice of the person, then you will have the list. So the list is a function of the choice of the region. So you're going to put many regions, and then in the next question, you're going to show only the list related to the chosen region by the person filling in the survey. So how do we do that? How about we start by showing you an example and then show you how to write down your code on an Excel form. In the survey, you are given only 2 questions, and definitely you can do more. This is only a very quick example. Let's say you are asked which governorate do you live in. You can pick Beirut, Bekaa. Let's say I pick North. And then they would ask you in which region you are. You see? So this is a list that would go only under North. However, if you would like to pick South, you will have a different list. Let's say you pick Bekaa, you will end up with a different list as well. So how can I write this on an Excel spreadsheet? Let me show you. Again, as a reminder, every time you open an Excel form, you need many sheets. The first one is survey, the second one is choices, the third one is version. That's an example. And the first one, I use type, name, label, and I'm gonna call something choice filter. And I'm gonna explain what I mean by choice filter. As you remember, I had only 2 questions in my survey, question 1 and question 2. I'm gonna name them Q1 and Q2. This is what I exactly see on my survey. Which governorate do you live in? And which Gaza, all right? And as you can see, I can select one answer, so I'm gonna pick select one. I'm gonna call this governorate and this is Gaza because in my choices sheet, I'm gonna list everything, like everything you're supposed to select from, okay? However, when you're done with question number 1, question number 2, you are only allowed, you have a choice filter. So the thing is gonna go to choices, but it's gonna be filtered choices depending on the answer for question Q1. So this is the dollar sign, curly brackets, and inside you have Q1. So this is the answer of question Q1. So you will only be allowed to pick from the list whatever the answer of Q1 is. Now let me show you the choices and how I wrote them down. And the choices, yes, let me remove the annotation. And the choices, I sorted by label. So we have, for the different governorates, we have Beirut, Bekaa, Mount Lebanon, all this. Okay, probably I can help out with some coloring. And remember, you are always advised to use the color code. It helps in a way. So this is the governorate. Now for the casa, I'm gonna use all this list, okay? And I want you to notice something. First of all, it's very important to follow the same order. So if we're doing Beirut, Bekaa, Mount Lebanon, I need to list the casas in order, in the same order. So Beirut, Bekaa, Mount Lebanon again. Okay. So if I take Beirut to be in blue, I'm gonna take this in blue again, and you can see it. If I take this to be in green, I'm gonna take those to stay in green. If I take Mount Lebanon to be in yellow, I'm gonna take all of Mount Lebanon to be in yellow. Let's say I take Nabatiya to be in light red or any similar, probably gray. I would take all of Nabatiya to be gray. And so on. If I take north to be white, for instance, I can take all the north to be white. And eventually, let me pick some color. Dark blue probably for the south, and dark blue for the south in here. Okay, so I have to follow the same order. Okay, so this is the labeling you would see. The first list of labelings are gonna be used only for the governorate for the first question. And then whatever you pick from that question, you will be given the list. So that would go under choice filter. So if I pick Bika, you will be only given this list. So, but you have to put Bika under governorate again. Does that make sense? So this is what you see exactly on your survey. And this is the name, and this is the list name. Okay, you can try it. You can add the regions, like you can take every casa and check the regions for it and make your list even longer. Okay, so if you upload this simple survey that has a long list of choices but a very easy code, you will see that if you upload it to your KOBO toolbox, you will end up with the survey I showed you a few minutes ago. That's it. Grouping questions and repeating groups. Our final part in this video is how to do repeating groups. I already showed you how to do grouping questions on an Excel form, probably in the first or second video. But how do we repeat these groups, and why do we need to repeat these groups? Let's say, for example, you would like to know the name, the age, the hobbies of the people living in your house. And probably people living in your house are 5 people. So you have a group called name, age, hobby. And this group is going to repeat itself again depending on the people living in the house. So let me try to show you an example, and probably this would make more sense to you. This is a very simple survey that shows you what grouping is. So I have question 2, 3, 4 questions: name, age, sex, hobby. And I wanted to put all these questions under one group. I can have 1, 2, 3 groups, as many as you want. So probably you'd rather review how to do a group before we do the group repeat. So this is one group, and how can I repeat this group many times? Let me start by showing you the Excel form of the grouping first. So again, this is an Excel sheet. You have the survey sheet and you have the choices sheet. It's very important for you to start with begin group. So this is begin group and this is end group. Begin group and end group. If you want another group, you will begin group again, end group again. You need, this is exactly what is gonna show on your survey. So make sure you have a nice title, a good informative title for the name of the group. These are the questions: name, age, sex. You can change them into questions. What is your name? Anything you want to show on your survey. Also, make sure to specify the type. The name is going to be a text. The age is going to be an integer. If you want a decimal, do that, but integer is more reliable for age. For sex, it has to be select one. So which means I need to go back to the choices sheet to put the different lists from which they're supposed to select. And the hobby can be a text. All right. Now for the choices, This is I just need one list for, let me remove the annotations, annotation, clear all drawings. So you can see the question under sex, you have two options, male, female. If you want, you can name them one and two. It doesn't matter, as long as you know what will exactly show on the label. All right. What else? Now, if I go to this survey, it has a group, but it's a bit different because the group is gonna get repeated. So it's the same group, it's empty because they're asking me first, how many are you at home? If I say one, it's gonna give me only one box, one section in which you have name, age, sex, and hobby. If you say that you are two people in the house, you're gonna see, let me close this. So, two people in the house, you're gonna see you have now two sections, name, age, sex, hobby, that's gonna repeat and repeat again. So, how about I say again, three people? You will see you will have the section listed three times. Okay, so how can I make my survey in such a way, interactive in such a way, that whatever question I answer, the grouping is gonna be related in accordance with the whatever answer you have in here. It could be anything. Probably this question is numerical, like an integer. What if this question is a select one and the answer is yes or no? So probably you would say this group is gonna show if my answer is yes, and this group is not gonna show if my answer is no. So you have so many options that you can use under group repeats, and eventually at the end of the session probably I can give you a link and see the different examples and the different cases you can face. So now this survey, how can I modify my old Excel form to create a group repeat instead of a static group? All right, so this is the Excel form. You have survey and choices. I'm gonna start first by creating the first question, okay? And I'm gonna color it. So color code again would help. And then instead of saying begin group and end group, I'm gonna change it a bit and say begin, repeat, and repeat. So this is something very important that I'm gonna color in green. Now, these are the questions, name, age, sex, hobby. This is how you see it on your Excel for on your survey. And this is the names. And these are the type, text, integer, select one, and text. Eventually for select one, don't forget to list the selections in your choices. Yeah, and if you have any other selection as well. Now I need a condition to see the repeat is gonna come back how many times, and this is where you need to use repeat count. So this repeat count is very important. You have to write a condition at the beginning of the repeat. The condition for me is equivalent to the answer of Q1. This is Q1, and this is the question as listed on your survey, and whatever answer is under Q1 is gonna repeat count for the group. So dollar sign, so again the dollar sign, the curly bracket, and Q1 inside means the answer to Q1. If the answer to Q1 is 2, it means that the group is gonna repeat itself twice. So repeat count. So this is something new for you to try and to use. Okay, so you just have to upload the survey on KOBO Toolbox, and you will see you will have exactly the same survey I showed you a few minutes ago. Before I leave you for the moment, I would like to tell you that I found this very interesting reference. So please note down the HTTP address, and you can answer any question you have, how to create a form, how to, I don't know, how to create a question that is rating versus ranking. You can also find what we've been discussing, like adding questions within a group, or the skipping a group question, the cascading selects we've been doing. What else we did? We did the skip logic, and they can show you so many examples. For me, I'm so interested in the group repeat because in the group repeat section, you will see so many examples. One example that I found very interesting, the example of hobbies, let me find it for you. It is this one. They want you to say how many hobbies you have. Let me show you. It's at the end, I think. How many hobbies you have. Yes, yes. Where is it? Hobby question. Hobby question. They show you how to do it on the directly on Kobo Toolbox, and they also show you how to do it from Excel. I always advise you to do it from Excel. It's easier and faster. Okay, so let me scroll down. Okay, so this is the survey. It's grouping questions and repeating groups. It's a nested repeat. You have this group, name, age, sex. How many hobbies do you have? The interesting thing is they use the name of the person. Like if you write anything under this name, let's say, I don't know, Rami, and the question would be, how many hobbies does Rami have? So I find this very interesting. If Rami will list 3 hobbies, the group will open 3 sections. If Rami will list 4 hobbies, the group will open 4 sections. And how do we do this? It is shown in here. It's, you have the repeat count that we've been using. So it will be the answer to hobby. Don't forget the curly brackets. And hobby in here is how many hobbies you have and an integer. And how do you write the name of Rami? You just have to write the label as how many hobbies does. Don't write Rami, write $, curly bracket, and the answer to name, whatever is written in here. Okay, you can also try it and see how things would be. All right, so please, if you have any question, please do not hesitate to contact me for anything simple or difficult. Just let me know and let me help you. Have a good day.